Well, hello guys and gals, and welcome back to another edition of Fishing Planet with me, your old buddy, Mr. Moose. Hey, today's video is going to be on a subject that a lot of people have been asking about, and that is Gamepad controller support for Fishing Planet. A lot of people want to kick back, feet up with their controller in hand and do a little fishing, but unfortunately, as you may have found, the game does not have controller set up. What little bit they have is very crude. Basically, you can use your gamepad to move around a little bit, and then you can cast and retrieve. You don't have any steering for your rod or anything else like that. So today, I am going to cover how to use your gamepad with Fishing Planet. Specifically, how to use a PS3 controller with Fishing Planet. So I should start this video off by saying, if you're on an Xbox 360 controller or Xbox One controller, this video is not going to be a whole lot of help for you. You might want to watch it just to see what I do to get my PS3 working, but you're going to need a program like Pinnacle or maybe Xpadder to emulate your gamepad and make it work. I'm going to be using a program called Better DS3, and that is what I use as an emulator for my PS3 controller to be able to plug it into the game and or into my computer and make it work. And within it, I have the ability to emulate and make it work and make it run my controller. The way I've got my controller set up right now, and I'm actually playing on it, my right joystick right now is moving around my rod and reel, and that is doing so. I can actually walk using my right joystick. I'm reeling with my right trigger. I can pull my rod up, set the hook with my left trigger, and then I've got my D-pad set up to where I can increase or decrease my drag settings with my up and down on my D-pad, and then I can change my gear settings by using my right and left with my D-pad. I still have plenty of buttons left over if I wanted to assign some other values to do things like break the line or anything else like that. So that's the basics of what I'm going to be covering today. We'll jump over into my program, Better DS3, and I'll show you exactly how to queue this up. So let's do that now. Alright, so here we are on my desktop. The program we're going to be using to emulate our controller is going to be Better DS3. Now this is the program that I use always to use my PS3 controller with my computer. If you are watching this and are following this tutorial, I'm going to assume that you already have a working and functionable PS3 controller on your computer. If you don't, you're watching this and thinking, well, I've got a PS3 controller, why don't I just hook it up and use it? You'll need to watch the tutorial on Better DS3 site on how to install your PS3 controller using Motion to Joy or Motion and Joy, and get to the point where you can use the Better DS3 application. So it's not too hard, but it's not something I'm going to go into depth on this point. I'm assuming that you have a controller up and functioning, and you just want to be able to emulate it to play Fishing Planet. So moving along. So normally when I have my Better DS3 running, I'm in my default master mode, and I'm using it to just emulate a Xbox 360 controller. But today, what I want to do is I want to be able to control Fishing Planet, and what I want it to set it up as is basically to emulate my mouse and keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new profile here, or a new mapping profile, by clicking New, and it will give me a couple of different options. If I was doing an Xbox controller, I would go into Direct Input, but for this case, we want to select Keyboard and Mouse, and when we do, it's going to pop up a brand new window. Now, I'm not going to start a whole new one. I'm going to go in my pre-existing one, and I'm just going to click Edit, and it would bring up this window here if you click New. So when you get New, all these values would say None, and you would see profile name blank. You'd want to put a profile name up here. For me, it's Fishing Planet, because that's the game this is going to be used for. And the controller template is going to be my DualShock 3 6-axis controller that I'm using. Mouse speed, well, this is how fast things move when you click on your joystick or whatever. You can adjust the settings to whatever you're comfortable with. The rest of this is pretty self-explanatory, but I will go over it for you. These are your buttons that are on your controller, and this is where you can select all the values for them. Now, in my case, I haven't used any of the buttons yet. I'm only using the shoulder buttons, the D-pad, and the joysticks. So we'll move on down. We can, if you want to assign some values, like if you want to assign brake line to the triangle, you could come up here to the triangle. You could come down and select B, the letter B, which is going to be on your keyboard. If we find where the letter B is on here, there it is. You can select B, and then B would give you the ability to break your line. Or if you wanted to automatically open up the time window, you could assign T to it, and that would give you the T value. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to go around, and for each button we are going to assign either a keystroke or a mouse movement to each of the buttons that we're going to be using. So in my case, let's go down to the shoulder. For the shoulder, I'm going to use my triggers to reel with, and as you can see, I've got this already set up. Now, L1 is your top button, and I'm going to get rid of this because originally I was going to use my top buttons to set my reel speed, and I found out that I didn't like that very much. So I'm going to go set those to none. L2 is our left trigger. That's the one down at the bottom of the controller, L2. And in my case, that is like my dominant hand is my right hand. So I wanted that to be my reeling hand, and I wanted my off hand to be my set hand. So that's kind of the way I would, set it up. So I'm going to have my left trigger button perform my right mouse button function. I know that's a little confusing, but the right mouse button is your set, or it puts you into aim cast mode, but it's also your hook strike to pull your rod back or to pump your rod. And I want that to be on my left trigger button. So all I'm going to do is in the drop down menu, I'm going to open it up, and I would come through the list of commands here, and I would scroll down to where I found the mouse functions, and I go through the mouse function, and I see left button, middle button, right button. Click on the right button, and it assigns that value. My upper shoulder button, I'm not doing anything with on the right, but on the right trigger button, I am using that to be my left function, which is reel and cast. And again, I want that to be on my right trigger button. So again, I would just come through all the list of different commands that are in here and select that. So you're seeing a pattern already, right? It's not really that hard, just a lot of people hadn't thought to do it. Same thing with the D-pad. The D-pad I'm using to control functions like my drag, and I'm also using that to control my reel speed. So my up and down axis on my D-pad, I want to be controlling my drag settings, and the left and right I'm using to control my reel speed. So on my up button, I need to add in the numerical value for add, which is on your, in the game, your drag speed is controlled by hitting the plus or the minus key on your number pad. So that is represented by number add, which is pretty much way down here at the list of things that you would find. You scroll all the way down to where you get down to numbers, number lock, number divide, multiply, subtract, add, select that. And same thing with the down, you go to number subtract. Then for my right side function, I use my mouse wheel up, which is going to be in the set of mouse commands here. So you've got mouse command, up, right, down, left. You've got move, and you've got wheel. Wheel up, down, left, and right. So in this case, we just want wheel up, and that will increase our value. And then to decrease it, I would put on the left side, I would put the wheel down. The only place I got really confused in this, and I had to mess around with it a little bit, was I got a little bit confused in the X and Y values for my joysticks. Now, my brain functions in a sense where on the Y values, I would think that Y plus would be to increase, so therefore it would be forward, and Y minus would be to go backwards, so or to take away from, which would to me is go backwards. So I thought, okay, well, Y plus should be my movement forward, so that needs to be my W key, and my Y minus needs to be moved backwards, and that needs to be my S key. Well, I was wrong. I would be pushing forward, and I'd be backing up across the map. So keep in mind for you, the settings are as follows. To go to move to your right, you're going to use X plus, and you need to assign that to the D numerical or the letter keystroke D on your keypad. Your X minus is to move left, so you need to set that for keystroke A. To back up, you need Y plus, keystroke S, and then to go forward is the Y axis negative, and that is your keystroke W. Pretty straightforward there. And then the mouse is, the axes on your mouse are exactly the same. So on my right joystick, I'm going to control how my rod and reel move, and I'm going to assign the following values to it. For my X plus, which is going to move my rod to the right, I'm going to assign mouse move right, and that is again in the mouse section. You're going to find mouse left, middle, right, and then you'll find move up, down, left, and right. And just make sure you get the mouse move and not the mouse wheel. Okay, so mouse move right. For my X negative value, that's going to be moving to the left, so I want to have mouse move left. And then remember, the axis is here, the plus is actually backwards. So in my case, I want when I move, when I pull the joystick down, I want my rod tip to go down. Unlike when I aim in a video game, when I in a first-person shooter, I would use my mouse down to actually pull my gun barrel up a little bit. But in this case, I find I like to have it reversed. So I'm reversing that axis. So when I actually pull down on the joystick, I'm pulling my rod tip down. And when I push up on it, I'm pushing my rod tip up. So I put mouse move down for my Y plus axis, and I put my my mouse move up for my Y minus axis. Now, you may find that you play a lot of first-person shooters and that you typically do the exact same thing. So for you, you may decide that you want to use it, you know, just like the game, just like you do in all your other video games. And so you may want to reverse that yourself and put the mouse move up as your Y plus and the mouse move down as your Y. And all that would do is when you pull down, your rod tip would go up. When you pushed up, your rod tip would go down. So that's up to you, to each his own. You can adjust the dead zones if you want, so it doesn't respond as fast for you. And of course, again, you can record your mouse speeds. Once you've done all that down here, you can just leave all this. There is no force feedback, so the left and right doesn't really matter, and your battery doesn't matter. You can have your lights on to show custom, whether it's controller 1, 2, 3, or 4, or you can have it just show your battery strength on there. It really doesn't matter how you set that up. That's each your own. Up here at the top, if you want this profile to load every time you load Better DS3, you can select automatically apply to controller when connected. But I use the default for that, which is for my Xbox. So this is, I'm going to select this anytime I'm playing Fishing Planet. So once you've done that, hit save the profile, come up here, make sure you apply it, and then you're good to go. Jump back into the game and we'll see if we got all our control settings proper. Alright, so with everything set properly, we're back in the game and I'm reeling. I'm setting the hook here, and I can move around and everything works just fine. So I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you're using a PS3 on your computer, hope you can get this set up so it's emulating for you as well. Again, if you're on Xbox controllers, you'll need to get like Xpad or Pinnacle and figure out how to configure this for yourself. But that's it for this video. It's I know it's just pretty quick, simple, but I know a lot of people have been wondering about using a gamepad in it, and it's really simple. You know, even aim casting, I can just click on my left button now. I can adjust my reel where I want to cast out to. I can bring that in a little bit closer if I want, and then I use my right trigger to actually cast, and it's that simple. So again, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, make sure you give me a like. It helps me out a lot. And make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see additional videos in the near future. Thanks again for watching, guys. Hope you're enjoying the game, and come on back next time for another video with me, Mr. Moose. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.